strategies. He's also worked on the Obama and Hillary Clinton campaigns, and he's got a brand new car that he's all flexing on the Instagram with.
What is it?
I had to treat myself.
I guess so.
We all need to treat ourselves right now.
The flex is real. Michael, good morning. So you heard what those Philly voters are saying and what they told me. What's your takeaway from their sentiments?
You know, in terms of African-Americans, men supporting Donald Trump, I can't really explain that. I mean, this is a president who has been critical of African-Americans at every turn and only used African-Americans as a prop, you know, to try to raise his poll numbers. So you'll have to ask Paris Denard or one of those guys, because I would never understand that.
And, you know, Candace and I were just talking about something. One of the voters that he spoke with in Philly said that he was choosing Biden as the lesser of two evils. And we were talking about enthusiasm for Biden. Maybe not necessarily what it was with former President Barack Obama, but he's going to be campaigning for Joe Biden on Wednesday in Philadelphia. How much can he help Biden here?
You know, I think he can help Biden a lot. I think his ability to turn out voters and juice them up is something that the Democratic Party really needs. This is going to be a turnout election at the end of the day. People are cemented in who they support. And at this point, if you don't know who you support, you're probably either not voting or you're going to write someone in. So what both parties are doing now is trying to excite their voters or enrage their voters and really juice them up for the polls. And that's something that President Obama is an absolute master at.
You know, according to analysis by NPR, TV and ad spending in 13 states has reached $1 billion. $600 million from Biden and his allies and $400 million from Trump and his allies. What does that tell you? And that's just TV ad spending. Let's not talk about online, radio, etc. What does that tell you?
Well, it tells you that Democrats are getting a lot of support in terms of financial donations. We're seeing historic numbers in small dollar donations go to Biden campaign and down ticket. And we're also seeing the Trump campaign really struggle with how to go about spending money and how to raise new money. And so in the ad wars, you know, the more you spend in ads, the more people are going to see your message and the more it's going to be internalized. And so I think it's something that Joe Biden's really going to benefit from.
Here's what the president said last night about fundraising. Let's listen.
I could raise more money than anybody in the history of politics, but I don't want to call these people and say, do me a favor, the head of Goldman Sachs. I don't want to say, do me a favor, all these people. Nobody could ever raise money like me. I just don't want to do it.
So him saying that and making Candace
come on.
laugh out loud. And then you have Lindsey Graham, who's on television begging for fundraising. Do you get a sense that some Republican candidates are struggling here?
Absolutely. What the president's doing is projecting. No candidate ever wants to outfund. And Lindsey Graham is the perfect example of that. He's been in a pretty safe seat and never had a problem fundraising. But now he's getting blown out of the water by Jamie Harrison. And I think that goes to the overall narrative we're seeing all across the country. Democrats are fired up. And so in 2016, we saw an anti-Clinton vote that really carried President Trump over the edge. I think now we're seeing just the opposite. We're seeing an anti-Trump. People aren't exactly fired up about Joe Biden, but they're really, really excited to go out and vote against Donald Trump. And that's something that could really be devastating for the Trump campaign.
Yeah, that was really the sentiment that I got from, again, it was just a microcosm of America, but those voters that I interacted with yesterday in Philadelphia, they're not necessarily enthusiastic about Joe, but they're enthusiastically ready to vote Trump out.
It's more of a referendum.
It really is. Let's talk about the TV ad spending one more second, because I'm fascinated by it. 9 out of every $10, a total of $882 million are being spent in 6 states: Florida, Pennsylvania, Michigan, North Carolina, Wisconsin, and Arizona. That says what to you?
Well, it says a couple things. One, during a pandemic, everyone's home, so being able to reach voters where they are is super important. But more importantly, it reminds me of 2008, President Obama's first election, where he really spread the table and ran a 50-state strategy. And so Republicans had to defend states that they weren't usually defending, states like Arizona, Florida. And so when you have to spend money in states like Florida, for example, which are 3 TV markets and are insanely expensive, you can't defend safe states. And so it puts states like Georgia into play that aren't usually there. And that's where fundraising becomes the big issue.
Yeah, and the Biden campaign is actually putting some money, about $2 million in Texas. That's an expensive market, but it's still a little sampling there. Michael, what kind of whip did you get?
I just looked at some kind of spicy convertible.
It looked, whoa.
I got Fiat Arba, so what can I say?
Nice. The midlife crisis
Enjoy.
comes early. The midlife whip.
did
Michael Starr Hopkins.
Thank you.